All right, now, but speaking of torturing animals, and I'm not trying to be glib about it, Shri Thanedar is the guy who's behind the latest attempts to impeach Donald Trump. I don't know if you've seen this. The guy's very, very proud of the billboards that he's putting up in whatever state he's a congressman for. I'll get his exact credentials afterwards. I'll give the guy credit for one thing. He looks pretty young. I think he's like 65 years old. So he's an idiot. He seems to be a corrupt POS who has no qualms allowing animals to suffer unnecessarily. But he looks young. Maybe he's extracting some of that sweet, sweet adrenochrome from, like, I don't know, puppies, and that's how it works. But this is him now talking about how idiot doesn't understand when you make yourself famous, people are going to look into your history. And it seems that when you scratch the surface on any one of these Democrats, but it's across the board for politicians, but seems to be particularly true for Democrats. Scratch the surface, corruption to the core. Kim Fox, who's the one in Kim Gardner, Leticia James, Fannie Willis, New York nipple judge Engeron, Judge, what's his face there, Kaplan, who's the other one? Judge Merchant. Scratch the surface. They are all corrupt sacks of human garbage. But now he doesn't like the fact that the discussion has been turned on him. So let's listen to what he has to say about how the attention that he has brought on himself is no longer the attention he wants to have brought on himself.
But they talk about my hair. They talk about my hair. They talk about my appearance. They talk about where I was born. They talk about everything, my looks. They talk about my age. They talk about why I should be deported back to the country where I was born. They talk about my past business dealings and they distort my business record. They do everything, but they...
What was that you said about your past business record? I'm sorry, I never knew. 70 years old, by the way. I'm sorry, I didn't know anything about your past business record. Thank you for letting me know that I should look into it, Shri. It's an amazing thing. What's new to me is not necessarily new to the world. What's new to me is not necessarily new to the people who were trying to take him down in 2018 when he was running for office. Come on, get the video. Hold on a second. The video is called Cruel. It's in the, I'm going to give everybody the link to this. The link is in there, and I have memorialized it so that it can never be taken down from the internet. Watch this video, which was run in 2018 when Shri was running for whatever.
They were confined to crates, with no opportunity to leave. Shri Thanedar got rich running tests on dogs. His research company kept over 100 dogs, testing drugs and chemicals on them, never let out of their cages. When Shri's company went bankrupt, it abandoned the building, leaving the starving dogs trapped in their crates. A judge stopped it. But who could be so cruel?
Shri.
Tell Shri Thanedar, no more animal cruelty.
Well, it's kind of late because it occurred in 2010 and he was running for office in 2018 when they ran this hit piece on him. Hit piece based in I'm not going to make fun of his accent because that would probably get me canceled. But thank you, Shri. Oh, they distort the facts of my business. Did they? What were the facts of that business? It's interesting. Oh, so you were accused of having tested on dogs, and when the company went bankrupt, having left them to starve in their cages? Oh, what's that? You were also, hold on, let me give everybody the link so we can make this man famous. Wants to get famous? He'll get famous. Let's go. It's wild because you can actually, these things are on the internet forever. You just went in there. It's great. If you know how to look for things, you can find the truth. The scumbag who's going after Trump for impeachment, Rep. Thanedar, is beyond scumbag. Here's an excerpt from a deposition in the context of the Anaclin. That was his subsidiarily owned pharmaceutical company in the bankruptcy and scandal. The pharma company he owned back in 2010 before it went bankrupt. Shri faces accusations of animal neglect because the research facility shuttered and left dogs and monkeys to starve to death in cages which were too small, according to complaints. And this is from the deposition. This is the receiver, the man, receiver trustee, I forget exactly who it was, who comes in to see what's going on with the business. And what does he have to say? He says there were 4 businesses. First, there was a business in New Jersey called Anaclin. It was an animal test facility. 2010, people, not 1980. That was in incredibly bad shape. We had monkeys and beagles, dogs that were starving. We actually, before we were authorized as a receiver, I would personally put up money in our own pocket to feed the animals so that they didn't starve. And we had problems with the health authorities. Employees hadn't been paid for some period of time. Benefits hadn't been paid. It was a bloody mess at Anaclin. Thanks, Shri. Never would have known to look into your past had you not opened your big mouth, had you not decided that you were the righteous one on earth who's going to go after Trump for another 3rd impeachment. But wait, There's more. I'll give everybody the receipts. What else do we have from Shri Thanedar? Well, you don't want to listen to me because I might be wrong. This is from Fox. Well, yeah, 2018. Shri Thanedar blames bank for shuttered company abandoning 170 dogs and monkeys. Ann Arbor, Michigan. Shri Thanedar, a Democrat running to be Michigan's next governor, is facing tough questions about the treatment of animals at a testing lab he once owned where almost 200 dogs and monkeys were abandoned and had to be rescued. The Huffington Post brought up the story on Wednesday. They date back to July 2010 article in USA Today about Anakin Preclinical Services, which closed after his company, Azopharma, went bankrupt that year. According to a 2010 USA Today report, 118 beagles were stuck inside the facility and the lab's workers had been jumping fences to feed and give the dogs water. Thanedar says the company was placed in receivership by Bank of America and he warned them about the live animals and ongoing research. He says they locked them out anyway. Quote, the banks come in and then they are ruthless, and that's exactly what they did, Thanedar said. The Democrat is hoping to replace outgoing Governor Rick Snyder, but before he started his run for governor, he was a scientist running Azopharma, a pharmaceutical development company. The company helped small businesses develop new medicine. When the recession hit in 2010, his business wasn't spared. The Bank of America took over the company, including one of his 10 lab facilities, Anakin Preclinical Services in New Jersey, where 55 monkeys and 118 beagles were used for laboratory testing. He said the bank took over. He had no control over what happened to the animals who were stuck in locked cages inside the bank-owned facility. It is so laughably idiotic, that explanation. The bank comes in. The bank doesn't operate these businesses. They keep on the principles at the very least to know what's going on. Quote, I told the bank there is sensitive research being done. They're living animals, lives involved, and let us take care of it. But they did not accept our advice, Thanedar said. They were anxious to sell all of the assets and get their money, and they did. The story made headlines back in 2010 when it originally happened. Animal rights, I guess it's supposed to say, eventually joined together to negotiate the release of the animals. New York-based group Pets Alive filmed video of beagles that were bred for animal testing felt grass for the first time. All 118 got homes forever. They took the monkeys into sanctuaries. Thanedar says he was concerned because his company took good care of the animals. According to USDA documents, the lab received several citations for cages that were too small and for expired medication used in the veterinary treatment. Thanedar, who owned the lab's parent company, says he did not deal with the lab on a day-to-day basis. Oh, it's the bank's fault. It's the other. I don't know what's going on in the companies. Everybody else's fault except for mine. Too small cages, whatever. I had a CEO that managed the operating, but we were in good standing and we had all of the guidelines and requirements and licensing. Well, apparently you didn't, because you got citations for expired medicine and too small cages for the beagles that you're testing on. But Shri, thank you very much for letting us know about your history. We would never have known about it had you not decided to aim at the king and accuse others of moral impropriety, where you, lo and behold, confession through projection, seem to be the morally disgusting human being. So that's Shri Thanedar. He's gotten some attention that he probably didn't want, but now you all know, and we can help spread the word.